Hey guys, it's Evil Steve here. I just wanted to do a quick video about this script. You can see up top, it's called Sects and Violence ExTrEmE by Evil Steve. So this is a script that we played on April Fool's Day. I came up with the concept pretty silly. It was essentially, what if I took the Snake Charmer ++, which I had already made, and made every character equally as insane and crazy and something that should never work? How would that game come out? And it turns out not bad. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's as balanced as S&V, but it's a lot of fun. So this is sort of a companion video to our other video, which should be live on the channel or coming live very soon, depending on which way it goes posted. But the idea is some people like to know more about all the characters on the script before they can enjoy a game. And there's no way to link this script to any of like the custom script sites like the BOTC script database because it's all custom characters. So I just thought I'd make a quick video running down all the characters as they exist and then talk about where you can get the script if it's something you're interested in running. Now, small thing here is that the script has evolved since we played it on stream. This JSON has a few character tweaks that were not present in the video that is live. So I can cover what those were so that you're not too confused why the character might function differently than it does in the video. But unfortunately, I actually lost the JSON because I edited the JSON directly without making any copies. So there is no more copy of the original script, so I can't show you the original one. So yeah, let me just go ahead and go through them one character at a time. So remember, the idea is you take a character that exists, for instance the Clockmaker, and you update it to be as broken as possible. So let's look at the Apple Watch Lover, which says each night you learn how many steps from a living demon to its nearest living minion. I think this changed a little bit to use the word living, which would, before you could have a dead demon and registered on a dead Fangu. But essentially, you get the Clockmaker information every night instead of just starting. We got the Lucid Dreamer in place of the Dreamer, which says, each night, choose a player, not yourself or travelers. You learn what character they are. Instead of a choice between one good and one evil character, you just learn who they are. So that's it. Powerful. Snake Charmer ++, which is each night choosing a live player, not yourself. A chosen demon or lunatic swaps characters and alignments with you. +0 to infinity Snake Charmers. We covered this on the channel before, but basically once a Snake Charm goes off, the new Snake Charmer can then keep Snake Charming because there's no poisoning. And so there's not necessarily an incentive to come out right away, I guess. But yeah, it's a fun little game of hot potato with the demon. And the fact that there can be multiple Snake Charmers in play makes things a little crazy. This was made for another script and another idea, but I just ported it right back onto the script because it made sense. All right, the Math Major. This one's a lot of fun, I think. Regret your choices. That's just flavor text. But seriously, regret your choices. Each night you learn an important number the storyteller thinks you should know. Once per day, you may privately ask the storyteller what you think the number represents. They will tell you how close you are. So it's no longer registering how many people got false information. You can just learn any number that the storyteller thinks is interesting, and you can guess what that number represents and learn how hot you are. So it's a little bit of like an amnesiac and just some fun with numbers. Is it powerful? I suppose, depending on what number you're giving as the storyteller. Yeah, I mean, have fun with it. See if it works for you. The Flower Boy, who is essentially just a twist on the Flower Girl that says each night you learn if you voted on the demon today. So not that the demon voted, and you're not really tracking all of people's votes all the time, so it can get chaotic. If you voted on the demon, you learn a yes. If you voted on the demon, that's really powerful. And then the Blogger, which is the Town Crier. Each night you learn if you voted on a minion today. So we just kind of do a twist. You don't learn if the minion nominated, you learn if you voted on a minion. we just flip that whole mechanic and just tell you straight up if you found the thing you're hunting for. The Totally Legit Oracle says each night, pick a character type, learn how many of that type are dead. So when you wake up at night, you're asked to pick a character type. You can pick Townsfolk, Outsider, Minion, or Demon, and you just learn how many of that type are actually dead. Pretty straightforward. But the ability to sort of change what you're trying to hone in on can help you solve different worlds, I think. Just double checking. I think we're good. Okay. Nothing's changed from the stream so far, but the next one is a little different. So the podcaster now reads, each day you may visit the storyteller and learn one interesting true fact about the game. Kind of like getting two, one false, one true. You just learn one true interesting fact about the game. So pretty much what you would expect. Originally in the stream game that you watch, the wording is something like you make two statements and the storyteller tells you if they're both true. The problem became that people just sort of make a obviously true statement for one of the two. So it just turns into a yes or no question situation. And it also overlapped too much with the artist. So we went with this. So now the storyteller has to come up with interesting information again, but at least it's just one thing instead of two, like the Savant. We have the Sewing Machinist, which says each night choose two players, not yourself. You learn if they are the same alignment. Basically, instead of a once per game, it's now an every night ability, which is really good. University Student is a replacement for the Philosopher, which reads each night choose a good character you have not yet chosen. Gain that ability until dusk. If this character is in play, they are drunk while you have their ability. So this is a slightly different from what you see in the stream game. In the stream game, you could pick the same role every day. In the new revised version, you have to pick each role. You have to make a different role each night. So the story is you're in college and you're enrolling in different classes each semester. So every semester you have a new skill set that you bring to the table. But other than that, it's just the Philosopher. The Rule 34 artist reads once per day, privately ask the storyteller any yes, no question and receive an answer. So just like the artist, once per day, instead of once per game, it's just every day you get a yes, no answer. You can see why these characters are very powerful, right? We got the Chainsaw Juggler, which says each day. Oh, actually, it just says each. I need to fix that. But each day, publicly guess as many players' characters as you like. One character per player. That night, you learn how many you got correct. So this is slightly changed because before you can make an infinite number of guesses. So you could like juggle one person as all four demons multiple times, or, you know, juggle like Steve 9 times as the Vortox and Mike 8 times as the Fang Guru, et cetera, et cetera. So we changed it to one character per player, which changes it a little bit and probably weakens it, but I think makes the game flow a little smoother. I'll fix the text before I upload this. And then last Townsfolk is the Rational Sage, which is if you die, learn who was responsible, which actually was changed because before it was just like the demon. It just said like, if you ever killed by the demon, learn who the demon is instead of one or two players. So now it's been changed. So if you're hit by like a Sarah Know-it-all or a educated woman that ends up being your death for whatever reason, you'll learn specifically what that character is. So that's really powerful, right? So let's balance it out with some outsiders that make it a little harder on town. First of all, the totally normal guy. If you are super mad about being an outsider, either of you might be executed. So we have to talk about super madness real quick. Madness is defined as a character trying to convince town of something publicly, right? I am not an outsider. If you claim to be an outsider or try to convince town you're an outsider, you might be executed. Super mad takes it one step further, which means if you aren't trying to convince town of something, or if somebody in town publicly disbelieves you about that thing, it triggers it. So not only can the totally normal guy who's a mutant can't tell people they're a totally normal guy. If anyone says, oh, I just think they're the totally normal guy, or, oh, I think they're actually just an outsider, they're breaking super madness and you could both die for it. Little wild, makes it really hard to share information and call people out publicly because you risk dying if that's the case. The trophy wife, it just says you are drunk, which is mostly flavor text, but also applies to other characters. When you die, another player secretly becomes a trophy wife. As written, technically speaking, since you're drunk, you wouldn't have an effect. But the idea is you secretly become a trophy. Another player secretly becomes a trophy wife. Their ability goes away. They think they're still that character, but they don't have their ability anymore. It's almost like a negative farmer because they don't know they're becoming the trophy wife, but they are. And their ability stops functioning correctly. Interestingly, with like a Vortox, since they're an outsider, their information is no longer bound by the rules of Townsfolk getting false statements. So it can make worlds harder to solve. The meat pie vendor in place of a barber reads, if you die today or tonight, the demon may choose 2 players to swap characters. Repeat any number of times. Also keep in mind there can be multiple demons in play theoretically on the script. So what happens if you have multiple demons? I guess they both get to make as many swaps as they want. I don't know. Hasn't come up in my games yet. But essentially it's an infinite number of barber swaps that can happen. So if the barber dies, chaos. Just chaos incarnate can happen in town. Last but not least, the Mega Klutz, who reads, at the end of each day that you are dead, publicly choose one alive player. If you do not pick a good player, your team loses. Okay, what does this mean? It's not just a once off now. When you learn you died, there's a pause. At the end of each day that you're dead, you have to pick a character that's alive. And if you don't pick a good player, your team loses. So the pressure is on. It's no longer just like just kill me day one because I'll make a guess and we'll be good statistically. No, you die day one. Now you got to make multiple guesses. So it's harder. So you can see how each of these outsiders is equally as detrimental to town as the super powerful townsfolk are, which kind of balances it out. But the real meat of this script, because town is super powerful at this point, we have to get some really broken abilities to the evil team. So most of the power actually lies in the minions, I believe. So the minions are evil triplets, which says 2 opposing players share a role. You and them know each other. If a goody two-shoes triplet is executed, evil wins. Good can't win if you're alive. So much like the evil twin, right? You pass one token out and then you get the evil triplet. The evil twin, they know each other. The triplet works the same way, and I can show you how it works here in the bag. So if I put an evil triplet in, and then if I wanted to say, I'm going to put out, so I can put 2 flower boys in play. I'm just going to send these out so you can see how it works. The evil triplet is now tripleted with this flower boy here and this flower boy here. So it's a triplet pair, right? So I wake the evil triplet. I show these 2 in the flower boy token. I wake this flower boy. I show these 2 in the flower and say the evil triplet token, and I show this flower boy these 2 in the evil triplet token. So one of the 3 is absolutely the true one. It just also has the side effect of putting 2 of the same token in play for town, which also can cause some really crazy situations. The first time we did it, we did a university student triplet pair. Chaos, man. It was nuts. It might have been the second time we did it, actually. I think it was the second game. For the first time we ran the evil triplets, we did the university student triplet. So there's 2 university students in play and a triplet pretending to be a university student. Other than that, it functions the same as the evil twin. If either of the 2 triplets gets executed, they lose. Keep in mind, with things like super madness, they can be executed, and it's very stressful for town in that case. Because if they break super madness, they're executed, they lose. So they have to be super careful about distrusting people. In place of a witch, we have the educated woman that says each night choose a player. If they nominate tomorrow, they are executed. So unlike normal witch curses, which just kills them, if the wrong person nominates, they're executed. The day ends. You go to sleep. Really means you have to be very careful about nominating. You have to be willing to die, and you have to, really be careful about your nominations. Mostly because the day could end and you won't even get a chance to do any of the Flower Boy stuff, any of the blogger stuff, etc. It's rough on town if you willy-nilly nominate. The Sarah Know-It-All, which is basically each night choose a player and character. They are super mad they are this character tomorrow, or both players might be executed. So same thing, right? You pick a player, they're now super mad about that character. If anyone around town publicly says, oh, they're really the blank, or oh, so-and-so's, I think they're actually the blank, they're breaking your madness for you, you're going to die. You both could die, be executed and die. So again, just like the totally normal guy, it's really hard to communicate in town with the threat of getting executed just because you don't believe what they're saying. You kind of have to trust people at face value publicly or risk dying, right? It's powerful. It's hard. I don't even know if it's fair, but nothing on the script's meant to be fair. Last but not least, the most broken character I think that we could have made, the Pit Hag Coven, which reads, each night star choose a player and a character they become. Note, if you make an extra demon, there is no deaths are arbitrary that night. There's no signaling of town what's happening. Every night you can make someone into anything, and you can also make it if they're already in place. So you can double up on character types. You can turn everyone into like crazy powerful like outsiders. You could make every minion into a demon. It's really, really, really broken, and I'm sure it can lead to some really crazy game states. All right, those are definitely the most powerful characters. The demons are slightly more powerful than their original selves, but nothing crazy. The Fang Guru is each night choose a player, they die. Any outsider this kills becomes an evil Fang Guru, and you die instead. Infinite Fangu jumps, right? It's not just the once anymore. You can make multiple Fangus over the course of a game with the ability +1 to infinity outsiders. Really, you can only have up to 4 because there's only 4 outsider tokens. But in theory, you could have up to infinite outsiders. I guess you could put in multiple of each outsider token if you wanted to like make everyone outsider so everyone can win evil together. It could be fun. We also have the Rick Moranis, who one of the proposed changes was also the Viggo Mortensen. Either way, it's a Vigor Mortis, which basically says each night choose a player, they die. Minions you kill keep their ability and poison both townsfolk neighbors. So instead of just one townsfolk neighbor getting poisoned, both of them get poisoned. As well, -1 to infinity outsiders. You can remove all outsiders. I don't know why you would, but if you take all the outsiders out, you could easily let all your minions pretend to be outsiders. So there is that. It basically just keeps the outsider count on their feet. Yeah, not much to say about that. It's just a supercharged Vigor Mortis. We have the No Dushi, which is essentially each night you choose a player, they die. Your 2 closest townsfolk neighbor on each side are poisoned, so your tentacles go 2 out each way. In small games, this just basically means everyone's poisoned, essentially. But in bigger games, it becomes a little bit more interesting. The interesting thing here is it makes it harder to differentiate between a Vortox Rocks game and a No Dushi game, because the No Dushi can poison most of town. But if there's some people getting transformation, then possibly it's not a Vortox Rocks game. So definitely something to keep your eye out for. And last but not least, the Vortox Rocks, which works just like the Vortox, which read each night choose a player, they die. Townsfolk abilities yield false info. Each day, if nobody dies by execution, evil wins. Now, if nobody dies by execution, evil wins. So you can't execute dead bodies. It does add the writer that somebody must die each day. There's no more safe executing of dead bodies, because that does not satisfy the Vortox Rocks. I'm just going over the past changes. So we fixed the podcaster's ability because it didn't say public before. Rational Sage changed. Apple Watch educated women, university student. Yeah. that's it. All the other changes are exactly like you see in the thing. If this script looks interesting to you, something you'd want to play, head on over to join.thegrim.gg. Again, I can't put it on any of the script sharing websites, but you can actually jump in to our Discord server, say hi, look in our custom script repository, and find the Sects and Violence ExTrEmE thread. And the latest JSON is available there for you to check out. If you're enjoying the script, let me know how it goes. If you just want to watch how we play with it, go check out the video. It's a lot of fun. Just don't expect a super mellow game. This is definitely the kind of game you pull out every once in a while. Everyone has a laugh, and everyone has to be on the same page when you run it, because it is not by any means a very normal Clocktower experience. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed learning the characters. Go watch our video, click the links, etc. Bye.